right, guys, I want to go over method for our colorimetry or spectrophotometry section of the lab. So what I would suggest you do is do about 4 or 5 of the test solutions at a time, because you really need to take your readings about 15 to 20 minutes, or at least 15, and really no more than 20 minutes after you put blood samples in. So what I have here is I have written out, because you cannot write on these cuvettes. You cannot write on the cuvettes. So I've set up different areas, and so I can keep track of what I have. The solutions will be at distinct areas in the lab, so you should go and get one solution at a time and put it in its correct area on your bench top. So I have distilled water, 0.05, all the way up to 0.125 molar sodium chloride. Right, so I put all of those there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up adding in this one, and then I'm going to add in the blood. All right. So I wanted to show you one thing about the cuvettes, and see if I can get this to focus on here. One side has these little ridges, the other side is clear. When you open up the chamber to take your measures, you should make sure, once again, there's my side with the lines, there's my clear side. You want the clear side to be oriented in this direction, right? That's where the beam of light is going to go. So that's where you want that oriented. Pull that back out. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a sodium chloride solution to that. All right. So this is my last sodium chloride solution. You should always verify on the bottle what it is. And I'm going to draw it up. These pipetters go all the way to 3 milliliters. The top marking right there is 3 milliliters. Now what I've noticed as well is you've really got to squeeze this bulb head as much as possible to draw up 3 milliliters. So what I like to do is I squeeze that bulb head as much as possible ahead of time, and I stick this all the way to the bottom and I let it fill. So it's going to fill up, and you wouldn't think I would have to talk about how to do this, but it's a little bit frustrating. Then I'm going to squeeze out until I get to that 3 mil portion. Whoops. And then I'm going to not have put this back down upside down. Then I'm going to pipette that solution in the cuvette, and you may have to push down to get it all out. All right. All right, so I have all of my cuvettes filled with the solutions. Now I have to add the sheep blood to these. So give me just a moment, and I'm going to go get that material. All right, so for using the sheep blood, you're going to be using a micropipetter, and this micropipetter will pipette 20 to 200 microliters, and 100 microliters is the same as saying 0.1 milliliters. So I'm going to put a yellow pipette tip on my pipetter, and then I'm going to pull up the sheep's blood. So you're going to have small little vials of sheep's blood, not this big old vial of it. But when you, especially the first couple of times, you really need to do a couple of inversions. Like I can see when I look at the bottom of this, there's a little bit of blood cells stuck on the bottom. So it's had time to come out of solution and settle at the bottom. So you really need to get all of it resuspended. All right, so that's going to do it. I'm going to open up that bottle. Open up that bottle. And now, sorry, I'm going to pipette 100 microliters in all of my solutions. So again, when you're using the pipetter, there's a couple of stops. You go down, there's the first stop. The second stop expels air. This will eject the tip, so don't touch that. So we're going to go down to the first stop. Then I'm going to insert this into my solution so the tip is buried in the solution. Let go. And as I pull up, I have a 100 microliter sample, and I'm going to pipette that into my first well. Then I'm going to go back and go into the first stop, down into the solution, pull up 100 microliters, pipette that in. I go down to the second stop when I'm pipetting it in. So down to the first stop, pull up 100 microliters to my solution, first stop, second stop. I usually touch to the side of the container at the top a little bit, down to the first stop, pull up my solution, all the way in, second stop, come back up, get my solution. Oh, I don't trust that one. I think I did a good job. So down to the first stop, pull up my solution, that's better, and then pipette it in and touch to the side of this container. All right, then you're going to get rid of your tip, punch, all right? And you're going to use the glove finger. I'm not too afraid of sheep red blood cells. So I'm going to gently invert these a couple of times. Now this is really the only time you're going to do any mixing of these. Right? The spectrophotometer is set so that it doesn't account for the hemoglobin, because when the cells lyse, they're going to lose, they're going to break apart and the hemoglobin will remain suspended. So when we blank, we're blanking for sheep red blood cells in distilled water, so it's just all hemoglobin, and we are letting it sit for 15 to 20 minutes to let all of the cell particles go down to the bottom. All right, so you're going to just let that sit for 15 minutes, then you're going to take all your measures. Right? And again, you need to have them going for 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll show you how to take a measurement the next time on the next video.